Alright, well, we're here for this rare occasion of me going live again. Major Conspiracy Realist channel. And it's a little bit frustrating having to do this vertical thing here, but I'm gonna make do with what I got. You may not be able to see all of my guitar or me, but whatever. You'll be able to hear me. You can hear me! That's right, you can hear me, I can hear you, you can hear me. Anyway, so just want to come on, and I'm going to actually repost this to my Lex Naturalis YouTube channel and a few other platforms like Instagram and places where I have it written Lex Naturalis now is Southwest punk rock and roll. And hopefully by the end of this video you will see why that is. And it's like, I'm not going to hate on New York. I had some great times in New York. Like, I grew up in New York. I became who I am in New York. New York is not leaving my heart and soul. Like, but there are some things that are bummers about it that I think a lot of people that live here know all about. And then there's other things that are kind of more personal to me that are kind of a bummer about New York and the overall just values in general, and just patterns that I figured out as a 35-year-old man, as opposed to a 25-year-old man or a 15-year-old kid. It's just certain times you just have to move on, and like, I'm really proud of the guys in Something Wicked and the guys in Death Cult Pharmaceutical and the time that I spent in Lex Naturalis. There's some ups and downs with the guys with that, and but still we had some great times, and we were able to get some things done as far as getting some of the shows, putting some of the music that I had recorded myself, not recorded myself, but produced, that I wrote all the material for. See, this is where people get lost on Lex, because I say I recorded it, no, I didn't record it, and I'm trying to explain to you that yes, someone else recorded me performing all the instruments for the songs that I wrote. So it still took a lot of effort on my part, and it was mainly me doing the bulk of the content creation. I just needed someone that could manage the recording equipment, engineering end of it. So I want to take back control of that. Like, I want to learn that skill myself, because I live paycheck to paycheck. I haven't, I've just been kind of living on the go for years, just playing in 3 different bands and kind of just always on the go. So just never really having time to really manage a whole lot of things, not letting things get out of hand, like still paying bills, but just not really much room for anything else. Massive bills were a burden for many years that are now no longer an issue, which is going to open up a lot of opportunities for me, hopefully, or just at least give me some breathing room to be able to do more things and invest more in myself and in my music and in my skills. And so I feel like a lot of people that have a leg up as far as getting their stuff out there and promoted into the right channels so that it's heard by the right demographic of people that can actually latch on, like understand your music and identify and gravitate towards it. Like, you want to be able to reach the people that your music is going to speak to. If you end up just playing to the wrong audience like for too long, it gets stale, and it's not because of you, it's just because you're not where your art can really flourish in that environment. And so people might disagree, might have all kinds of arguments against what I'm saying, and I'm not trying to invite debate. I am just simply expressing how I see things, and I just feel like people always want to stomp out anything, a lot of different things. I feel like a lot of suppression of consciousness going on in the world and in society and in social dynamics and up the chain it goes, you know, and so I'm not going to belabor it anymore. My music is controversial for a lot of reasons that maybe people don't want to admit or even talk about or even acknowledge. But I'm going to do something I didn't plan on doing initially. And so next year, 2027, at some point, my goal is to release a 5-song EP that I not only produced and wrote myself, but recorded and engineered myself, or at least, you know, took more control in that area. And then, so I wasn't going to play any music from that, or let anyone hear any of that, but I feel like just to give people where I'm coming from with it. Because even though I did a Facebook post a few weeks ago about how I'm moving in a few months and how I'm moving on from this area, and basically I'm wrapping up with Death Cult Pharmaceutical so I could focus just on doing Lex Naturalis. That doesn't mean that there's really going to be a backing band for this. It's essentially going to be me going out there, taking some time in the studio to record, to create some content, to make some video content as far as music videos, as far as, you know, the other channels that I have, incorporating my music into those channels so that new audiences can hear it. You know, people that have already been checking out some of the other types of things that I create can see, you know, that there's a full picture here. You know, there's some level of modeling involved, I'm not gonna lie. There is conspiratorial research, there's divination, arts, occult research and discussion happening. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things that I'm passionate about. There's a lot of people that I've studied that I feel like their work needs to be like understood and like integrated into society to like help us evolve and get to that higher level. So I know that not everybody is like into truth discovery or like raising the vibration of the planet or even thinking in those terms, because people are caught up in their religiosity or their scarcity mindset or whatever. But my shit is just there to say there's something different out there. There's an alternative to the alternative to the alternative. So I'm going to play some songs from my new EP that's going to come out next year. It's going to be called Hot Mess America. I'm going to do a really cute photo shoot out in the desert. I'm going to have like, it looked like stars and stripes, like American flag, but with bi-colors. So it's like libertarian, bisexual, anarchist. This is what Jesus would have been if he came back. I'm all about like be more Christ-like in the sense of Christ's teachings and who he was, rather than acting like the parish and the church structure hierarchy that crucified him. You know, don't act like a member of that. Act like him. You know, that's what individualism versus authentic individualism versus inauthentic, malevolent collectivism, which it oftentimes is. It often turns into that because the truth gets lost in the crowd and in the sauce and in the minutia. So here is just another song that cuts through the bullshit. Parish doctrine overruled. Now, let me just get a drink of water. Water break. So I'm going to do my best to do this song. Like, I was trying to record it, pre-record this whole thing, but that didn't work out just because having some technical issues doing that. But I play this song like almost every single day, so hopefully I can just do it flawlessly for you this time around. called Parish Doctrine Overruled. It goes a little something like this. Southwest thing. Waco. Well, I was nervous. I did it way different at the end than I normally do it, but whatever. That was kind of a good sample demo of what's to come. So it's kind of, yes, more in like the rock and roll Elvis-y ish kind of vein. Trying to think of maybe what I should do with the next song I should show you guys from this. You know, there's a lot of passion behind this EP, so there's a lot of emotion that goes along with it. This one's going to be a pretty intense emotional one. I mean, it's better for an acoustic guitar anyway than the other two that I was going to do, so give this one a shot. You know, I'm still practicing these songs too, so it's like I wrote these songs and I've been working on them and practicing them myself, so see how I do. This song is called So Long Gone. It's safe to say I've never felt worse about our relationship than I do now. Wish I could find the nerve to break it off somehow. Probably wouldn't hear it, I forget not to doubt myself anyway. And we've been caught in the cycle for the whole time, living the shell of a life that I thought was once mine. Think it's about time I got moving on. Already long gone, so long gone. If you call that love, I appreciate it. If you never call, if you call that love, I appreciate it. If you never call me anymore. So all you ever fucking wanted to do was use me. And all you ever fucking wanted to do was abuse me, keep me confused. The lie I knew was loving you. The lie I knew was loving you. Should have known your care was dull from the start. But I can't accept how much it breaks my fucking heart. Probably secretly hated me and got off on seeing me hurt, broken, taken advantage of. That we've been caught in the cycle for the whole time, living the shell of a life that I thought was once mine. Think it's about time I got moving on. I'm already long gone, so long gone. If you call it love, I So yeah, I mean, you got one song where I'm basically saying, this is America, this is the West, this is freedom, this is the place where I have a right to call myself a man, to wear black skirts, fishnet stockings, walk out of the house and say, I'm going to play a rock show, I'm going to kick some ass, I'm going to come home, I'm going to get on my webcam, I'm going to kick some ass on that. And that's what it's all about. That's what the American Revolution was for, so that I could do that. I've actually heard people, like veterans, like whatever, not saying anything about veterans, but like some guys were saying, like, I didn't fight in a war so that you could be queer. You know, I've heard people on YouTube, there's been TikTok things passed around with, you know, some guy in Alabama saying that, or wherever. I've heard a guy say that, or a couple guys say that. In my life, I've heard that kind of rhetoric maybe a few reoccurring times. And it's like, yeah, you know, you kind of did. You know, if that's the argument you're making. Freedom means that people do things that you might disagree with, but if they're not violating anyone else's rights, it's fair game for them to do it. Not get locked up, not get really bullied and fucked with about it too much, really be more than fair. You know, messing with people, taking things from people, you know, like exposing yourself in front of, you know, a minor, like that's different. But even like if you're cross-dressed and you're still covered up completely and you are shopping and minding your own business, still like, you know, if you're a green lizard man and you're wearing a top hat and a, you know, a suit, like a three-piece suit, like, okay, like it's weird, it might be scary for kids, but still, it's still within freedom bounds. And so that's what that song's about. It's like, you know, the other thing is, it's like, if people want to identify as other things other than man and woman, that's fine. I'm bisexual, I'm technically queer, so I'm okay with the title of man, woman, girl, boy. Like, to me, like, I think these things are not bad things. Like, I think that they're, like I think I'm a spiritualist, so Hermetic principles come first for me, and gender is a Hermetic principle, so I'm not gonna, like, let culture take that from me and spin it the way it wants to spin it, whether it be an extreme right-winger spinning gender the way they want to spin it, to, you know, enforce these weird roles that they think are virtuous, or the other side saying none of it's real, just throw it all in the trash can and it doesn't exist. Not on either side, so I'm not popular with really anybody quite yet. You know, local people, I'm not really, you know, people, I get a positive feedback from people most of the time, but I mean, it's not really like I'm really gauging that much. I just think that I'm not really giving people the answers they want to hear when they ask about what's going on with this project necessarily all the time. You know, and I don't believe things are just in people's head. You know, I think that people clock patterns about their life and they recognize them, and then they're made to doubt them by society, and that's just how it's supposed to go. Erase truth at all costs. I don't play that game. I never have. I've been fighting against the current my entire life. That's what this band is all about. This band, it's a kind of a one-man band. It's had reoccurring members in the past, and you know, I'm a guy that, like, I like to go to an open mic and play like a bunch of like obscure punk songs that work on acoustic guitar, like that are kind of like punk rock and roll, folk punk songs, a little bit of pop punk, you know, thrown in there, and then I'll incorporate some of my original material. Then I'll say, hey, I also recorded this. This is a full band version of the songs that you heard on the acoustic. So you heard the stripped down version, now you get this version. Or, you know, if it's a bigger scale open mic, I could do like I used to do at 42 Degrees and other places locally. I used to do the backing tracks and just jump around and act like a maniac. And you know what? That's what punk, you could do that. That's part of, you know, the whole post-punk tradition. the hip hop tradition, you know, just have a tape, have your stuff on a tape. It's your art, man. You do what you want, you express it the way you want to do it. That's what it's been about since the beginning. And people said you need a band. You would be great with a band. I agreed. I was great with a band, with a full band live. It does pack a punch that you can't get in other avenues. But at the same time, I've seen all kinds of different performances being in the music scene. Like, luckily, you know, give it up to the promoters in the 518 area, like Super Dark Mondays. Well, I haven't been able to get out to that, like, you know, as religiously as I used to. That just, it is a good group and a good event that happens every Monday night. Like in Saratoga, there's always like a really cool artistic band or artist there, and they're doing something unconventional oftentimes with different ways of expressing what a full band would do, only maybe they're doing it with a xylophone or with a keyboard or you know, I've seen people hook up all kinds of different things and turn it into instruments. It's like, so, you know, for me, it's about my videography work that I can do. I can work on that skill and then like hone that and like make that a part of the stage show, you know, like, you know, there's just so many different avenues to go down, and like for me it's like this expression is my real therapy. Like, yeah, I do talk therapy stuff. That's why if you see me out in public, I don't have that much to say because I don't want to divulge that much of my baggage and the stuff that I normally like go into the weeds about or have gone into the weeds about in the past. Like, it just doesn't work to be, you know, that's just part of my nature, you know. Whereas it's hard on his sleeve, I guess you could say, but it's really just like, at this point in my life, I'm a matured, like, Pisces, where I'm like, I've come to understand some things, and I want to keep them to myself when it's appropriate, but I need to express them when I am free to, and this is my platform, this is what is going to be my home for, like, and hub for, like, all creation in the future, and it has already been in the past, you know, 5 years or so. So while the work hasn't been consistent, if you look back on the past 5 years or so, I was able to get some type of content eked out each and every year. And I think that, you know, while I was going through a lot of shit and like sometimes railing at the camera and just screaming and just a lot of deep concepts, a lot of epigenetic control mechanisms have been completely, you know, exposed just by my life experience and me journaling and just, you know, there's just, if you look at the whole picture of Amazing Conspiracy Realist channel, it you know, it may tell a chaotic story, but there's something there, you know, especially the earlier episodes that I did. And then as far as Lex Naturalis goes, it's kind of confusing because Lex Naturalis fits into the whole lexicon of the other channel that I have, where I talk about, you know, occult topics and conspiratorial research. And then as far as the local scene is concerned, where does it really fit? You know, Death Cult Pharmaceutical ended up taking off because, you know, we were just a collaborative effort where we were, you know, kind of networking more and kind of, I think hardcore punk is kind of in vogue, which is a great thing. You know, I wanted to be around for that time period where, like in the 90s, punk rock was kind of now something that was, I don't want to say it was it's like, it's not becoming more mainstream, it's just becoming more widespread, and it's less of an unknown thing. And so the same thing is sort of happening with hardcore. I mean, there's certain breakout bands where a certain genre will get the spotlight, you know, at times. Like early 90s, it was Green Day, and so punk got the spotlight a little bit. You know, people were starting to talk about it, think about it, you know, think they knew what it was, not really know what it was, then not want to know anything about what it historically was, which is still a problem we have today with everything, not just punk. But then, you know, hardcore had its revival in the 10s, and even in the 20s, you know, it's like bands like Turnstile and Turnstile, Knocked Loose, Spy, these one name bands like I can't think of any right now. There were so many that came and gone. Scowl, there's Spy. I already said Spy. There's a lot of stuff out there. Mortality Rate. I mean, there's just a lot of good hardcore. If you explore Spotify playlists, YouTube playlists and stuff, you'll see. There's a lot of hardcore out there, and so there's a lot of good stuff happening. I'm ranting at this point, but I'm going to repost this. There's going to be a playlist, all the best songs that I have written or contributed to writing with either this project, Death Cult Pharmaceutical, or past projects. I made a playlist of just songs that I pretty much wrote most of the lyrics or most of the music in these songs. Some songs it's all music, some songs it's mainly lyrics, and the people that are the bands like The Haunting, Squanch, they know where my contribution is, and so I don't expect any friction from them. I did salute them and say, it's been quite the journey living in New York, playing music and creating, and this playlist that I am going to be leaving, below, that's going to be a testament to what I've done so far with music, and what you just heard is going to be the future. And so for me, Southwest is where Freedom Rock is meant to be. It's where I'm meant to be, and I just need peace in my life. And there's a few other things that if you fill in the gaps and do some research about what makes Nevada special, you might find. But Lake Tahoe is also really cool, and it's I'm not going there just to see Vegas, but the Punk Rock Museum is out there too, so that's really something to consider, visiting, obviously, for me. And I'm just looking forward to just living the desert life. I just have an outlaw heart, and that might mean nothing. That might mean something different than what it means to me, but I know what it means to me, and so that's where Lex Naturalis is, and that's where I'm going. I'm flying solo. I'm gonna have an EP come out, then a full length probably after that. Then I have a covers album planned as well. So there's a lot planned, and I want to either get a videographer or do as much as I can myself. And it's gonna take a lot of space. It's gonna take not having any friends really. And obviously still having the friends I have here in New York that I'm gonna stay in contact with, DCP and Something Wicked, support those guys. But it's I'm not gonna when I get out there, it's my goal is to not get into social cliques and buddy with everybody. It's just skills, man, just freaking straight up skills. But yeah, that's all the time I got for you today. Lex Naturalis signing off. Amazing Conspiracy Realist Channel. This has been a great simulcast. Thank you all for being here with me tonight.